Hey everyone, welcome to Great and Gather Barbecue. This is Kyle, and today we're going to cover kind of a barbecue staple. It is ribs, and there are all different types of ribs. Today we're going to deal with spare ribs. So as you can see, this is just a big chunk of rib. There's different ones called St. Louis that would come from this, and it would just be cutting some stuff off. I'm not going to try and confuse anyone. This barbecue channel, at least right now, is more simple, but if you went and bought spare ribs, this is what they're going to look like. And you can cut them if you want. You can make it as easy or as hard as you want, or as complicated or as easy as you want. The cooking method we're doing today is pretty known to where you could cook baby backs the same method, which is another type of rib. I don't want to confuse everyone, but so out of the package, basically very minimum trimming. There is a flap that kind of connects this, I don't even know what it is, but it's a flap that is just gonna really crinkle up and shrivel up, and it's not gonna taste good. And so this is where we're gonna trim this, and then we're gonna take this membrane off the back side of the ribs, and then that's pretty much it. And then we're going to get to a point where we're just seasoning them. So just get your handy dandy knife and just kind of look for this flap and just follow it. Cut away from you. That's always a safe practice. Go down. And it may look like you're cutting a lot of meat off this thing, but the reality is this is just gonna be nothing. It's just gonna shrivel up and it's gonna taste like a piece of leather. So we don't want that. If there's any really big chunks of fat, I like to sometimes just take those, but ribs are pretty simple. I mean, like I said, you can make it as complicated as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. So once in a while, if I see a big chunk of fat, I'll take it off. But fat also is flavor in a certain regard, so we don't want to do too much. I kind of flip it over, make sure there's nothing. This little guy, I will trim off just a little piece of fat. And then maybe just kind of cut a little bit of this off. And other than that, that is trim. So this is very simple. So now another thing that I like to do, and not everyone does it, is take this membrane. There's actually a membrane on all of this rib. So what we're going to do, it's really easier to have a paper towel. And you just come to one of the corners basically, and you'll see if you can get it started, you just grab it, and you'll see now it's started. I'll still continue to grab it with a paper towel, but I want to show you guys that there's this membrane that's going to just peel off. And sometimes I've had ribs that they are a pain to get off. It's like the worst thing, and sometimes it's like butter. So we'll see what today this one is like. So far, not bad. And there's a lot of debate whether or not you have to do this, I just like to do it. It's a good practice. I've done one competition in my life, and that's more, I think, where this came from. Your paper towel is probably going to get used pretty fast, so just have another one handy, and you'll see it just peels off. So that is what came off of that. There might be just a little bit more here. And you're not going to ruin your ribs if you don't do this. So you need to know that. And that's what I love about barbecue. Every time you do something, you just experiment. That's what barbecue is. I've heard Aaron Franklin say it the best, but the only way to make good barbecue is by making bad barbecue. What I've learned is I am my biggest critic. And if you're a barbecue person, you know this. Like, everyone else will say, this is the best barbecue I've ever had. But inside you're like, man, I wish I would have did this a little bit better, or a little bit, I don't like this flavor. So just experiment. Figure out what you like, what you don't like, and regardless, most people are gonna like it regardless. It's just you that's gonna be a little bit more picky maybe. So these are pretty much done. I'm not gonna do this one, I'll do that one off camera, but I wanna show you just the one rack we're gonna do. So basically now they are ready for seasoning. So I'm gonna throw this away real quick. This is just your nastiness. Done with the knife. So this rack of ribs we have chose, this is where I'm going to take off one glove. This will be my clean hand. So we are actually going to have some meat church seasonings that we're going to use on these things. This one is called the barbecue gospel. It's got a little bit of heat. It's really good. And then this one is the Honey Hog Hot. So both of this rack of ribs is going to be a little bit more spicy than the other one. But there's different people here that like more spicy things. And then we're actually going to top it off with this rib glaze. It's a cherry apple habanero. So the first step of getting your seasoning on when it comes to like a pork or a bigger style of meat is a binder generally, because you could put all this seasoning on but it might not stick completely. And the best binder that I know, cheapest should I say, is mustard. And so if you're like, man, I hate mustard, I hate the taste of mustard, you will never taste this mustard. By the time 6 hours from now that these ribs are done, you'll never taste them. So basically you just rub the mustard on, and you can start either side. Doesn't really matter. Make sure the mustard is all nice in there, nice even coats. And then you just gotta start layering your rub at that point. We're gonna put the barbecue gospel on first, so that's gonna be the first rub that we are going to have. And basically, you just wanna kind of hold it up a little bit higher. I'll move this mustard so you guys can see it. And you just wanna go back and forth. A nice even layer is the most important part. Kind of like a typewriter, think about it like that. So a nice, pretty, decent layer, even-wise. And then what I like to do is have a paper towel, kind of wipe off the excess mustard, because I like to kind of press down the rub here on the next layer. So that's stuck because the mustard's there. Your binder is what's holding that. So now we're gonna come back with the Honey Hog Hot, and we're gonna layer that on top of that. Same concept, a light kind of coat, just like a typewriter. At the end, you might need to go up a little bit so it don't fly everywhere. And then now I just kind of like to press it down, because you're gonna flip these over here in a second, and this will make it stick better. So now that side is done, we can flip it over. And you probably should have started with this side. I'm still learning, guys, but then you wouldn't have to flip on the presentation side. But just a light thing of mustard. Nothing crazy. The back side, since there's really not a ton of meat back here, it's more just the back side of the bones. You don't have to be crazy with seasonings, but you need to at least have something back there. So we'll just go real fast. Nice even coat. And then we'll finish it with the Honey Hog Hot. And then press that down. And then these will be ready for the smoker. What we're gonna do is a really popular method. I'm not gonna say it's the best method, but I really want it to just be easy for you guys. It's called 3-2-1 method. It means 3 hours, we're gonna put these on the smokers. 3 hours unwrapped. I'm at 225 degrees is what the smoker is preheated to right now. And we're just gonna let it ride for 3 hours and smoke. Just 3 hours unwrapped, and then we're gonna take them off, and I'll have another segment. We're actually gonna wrap these ones with a Tennessee cider, hard cider from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And that's gonna be the liquid inside of it, which then tenderizes we're gonna wrap them in foil, and you'll see, and then you go for 2 hours. So remember, 3 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped in foil with a liquid of some sort, whether it be just apple juice, whether it be something else. We're gonna use that hard cider. And then on the other rack, I actually have some pre-made Heath Riles, I believe is the barbecues guy's name. He has like a prepaid, everything is in one, you just mix it together, and I'll show you guys when we pick back up exactly what the bag looks like and what all it has in it. But this is ready for the smoker. I'm gonna get. All right, guys, so we're at the smoker, 225 degrees. We're burning a Bear Mountain Gourmet blend. It's got a couple different flavors in it, but you can stick to hickory. I mean, you really can't go wrong with pork. But that's the pellets I'm burning today. Just a few things when we put them on. You'll see when I lay them on, you actually can scrunch up the rib, because how it's set on there is going to be how it cooks. So we want to push as much meat in between the bones. So you'll see how that works when we put it on. I'm going to put it on the bottom rack because it's my biggest. And you'll notice, so that's just normal, but I'm actually going to bunch it up a little bit. I'm going to squeeze as much as I can, just so now it's kind of, you can see, layered a little bit, but that's going to be more meat in between the bones. And remember, how you lay it is going to be how it cooks, and it also straightens the bones out as well. And then that's it. So we're going to let these go for 3 hours. It's hot. Be very careful because your grates are always hot. 3 hours though. All right, so we've pulled these spare ribs off. It's been 3 hours unwrapped at 225 degrees. The rub is dry, so it's not to where you can just wipe it off. So now what we're gonna do is really tenderize the rib. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap it in foil. So I have 2 pieces of heavy duty foil. And basically you almost want to make a boat out of it, because we're going to put 3/4 of a cup of that hard cider from Gatlinburg inside. And we're going to put a couple other things, but basically you're just wanting to make a boat to hold the liquid. And we're also going to put just a couple other things. And they're actually going to lay rub side down, but you have to get all your stuff on and then do it. And you can actually even, I'll probably put some of it just on the paper. So we're gonna just grab some brown sugar to put down there flat. Not too much, because there was sugar in the rub also. And then some butter. And then we're going to flip these over on top. Make that boat, pour our liquid in there, and just pour it kind of right over top. And then we are going to wrap it. So this is heavy duty film, aluminum foil. It helps a lot more. So if there was a bone maybe that was sharp, that is strong, that hard cider. If there was a bone sticking out, it's not, if it pierces the first layer, it won't pierce the second. So simple. So we're gonna wrap these and then we're gonna put them back in for 2 more hours, and then we will have our final 1 hour unwrapped. So we'll see you back here in 2 hours. All right, guys, so we just pulled them off of the grill. I just pulled them out of the foil, so it's been now 2 extra hours. So we're about 5 hours in now with this cook. So now we're at the last step, which is just gonna be glazing them, but you can see the bones have really pulled back, which is good. So they are way more tender, and now they're just ready to be sauced. So I have 2 different sauces that I'm gonna put on them, and then we're gonna put them on for another half hour to 45 minutes. I've bumped up the temp to 275 degrees because we have company coming over, and / they're actually in the room right now. So they're getting to be a part of this. So we're gonna put it on for about a half hour, 275, and what it's gonna do is just really caramelize that barbecue sauce and make it really more delicious at that point, but they're looking good. So just take a nice little amount of glaze and barbecue sauce, and then that will be it. So we will see you at the end of this cook. All right, so we just pulled them off after the glaze. They look fantastic. It's been about 6 hours. 3 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped, 1 hour basically with the glaze and just getting the barbecue to just set back on. So here's the finished product. So let's enjoy. All right, so now the best part about this whole 6 hour or 7 hour cook is we get to enjoy it. And that's why my channel is called Great to Now Gather, because now you get to enjoy it with all your friends, all your family. Barbecue brings people together. Have a wonderful day.